Hi, this is Little Dwarf playing games while rambling incoherently into a microphone. Why? Well, just because I can, and this time I'll be playing still live, Blind. Now, this is a continuation of the game Post Mortem, and this is a trilogy of adventure games which I've been recommended by a colleague, and to be honest, I was rather underwhelmed by Post Mortem. I think it was average at best, so I don't really have high expectations of this one. Hopefully it's better. It's a sort of... Well, I'm not sure how similar this game is going to be to the first one. The first one was a murder mystery with some supposedly supernatural elements thrown in, but the supernatural elements were kind of debatable in that you could explain them as certain characters simply being mad and them believing it's magic. So, we'll see where this one goes. Let's start a new game. Okay, so it seems, just as in the first one, this game starts with a murder. Apparently I am a member of the FBI. Coroner's report. Okay, I have a bunch of those actually. And I have a log already. But before I get to that, the song in the background was Dies Irae, The Day of Wrath, which is a very well known and very well-known religious song about about the day when God gets pissed and kills us all for our sins, and how much is that going to suck. I do actually quite like it. I think it's very majestic, and sort of, there's sort of foreboding, which is literally the topic of the song, because, as I said, this is the day of wrath, the day of final judgment of God upon the earth. So it's supposed to be very dark, and it is. So yeah, let's read those coroner's reports, I guess. City of Chicago Police Department investigator's narrative. Decedent Roslyn Cheka. Information sources: Arthur Lee, maintenance worker, University of Chicago; Thomas Creighton, security guard; Officer Victor Chow, CPD. Investigation: Arthur Lee flagged my patrol car at the corner of Barclay and Wharton, highly agitated. Lee reported the discovery of an unidentified woman's body in the staff washroom at the University of Chicago's Adult Education Services building. Death, Adult Education Services building, University of Chicago. Now, what does... is this the part of the same thing? I guess. But what does Adult Education Services building mean? Like, universities are for adult people in the first place. It's not a school for minors. So, what does Adult Education Services mean in this case? Like, I don't know. Is there a sex department on the university? Like, but again, that doesn't make sense to me because they are all adults. All university students are adults. So I don't understand that, but that might be because I'm not American. Let's continue. Witness statements. Officer Chow took Lee's statement. Lee indicated that he found the decedent in the staff washroom while conducting his usual cleaning rounds, spotting a single woman's shoe on the floor of the washroom, and saw the decedent prone the rightmost stall. Unable to reach a 911 operator, Lee then left the campus where we encountered him. Lee claimed that the building closes by 2100 hours most weeknights, and that the staff are typically out by 2200 hours. Scene description: the decedent was prone and kneeling with her head in the toilet bowl, face submerged. Tears in the decedent's clothing indicated a struggle, but gave no indication of sexual assault. The decedent's blouse was pulled up over her head, likely to pin her arms to restrict her ability to resist. Fingerprints and hair and fiber work collected by forensics. A partial footprint on the hem of the decedent's skirt was photographed. Body examination. The decedent sustained bruising around the head, likely from contact with the rim of the toilet bowl. Deep bruises around the throat indicate that the decedent was forcibly drowned. Tears in the decedent's skirt indicate that the decedent attempted to resist her attacker. Identification. The decedent was positively identified by campus security guard Thomas Creighton. Next of kin notification. The decedent was married with no children. Legal next of kin is a husband, John Maxon, who was notified by telephone. Tissue donation, none requested. Autopsy notification, none. Alfredo Bertolli. Okay, witnesses. Chicago Police Department officer Victor Chow was present at the autopsy. Opinion. The case of death is drowning, blunt trauma to the head, likely the result of the decedent's struggle, while bruising on the throat and larynx, the result of the assailant's efforts to choke or control the decedent. Both occurred prior to death. Semen was found in the decedent's vagina, but there were no indications of forced penetration. Toxicology tests revealed both an elevated blood alcohol level and the presence of rohypnol, which combined with alcohol would likely have incapacitated the decedent. Trace levels of THC were also detected. The mode of death is homicide. Okay, so is that only one file? Or have I technically read them all? Second, no, that's still the first victim, so there have already been 4 murders? It's certainly a rather explosive beginning to the game. Elizabeth Walmsley, information sources, Detective Menzies, Edward Cicier, resident of 112 Mosley, Patrick O'Connell, decedent's employer. Investigation. Edward Cicier placed a call with the 911 reporting a body submerged in the rooftop swimming pool of his apartment building at 112 Mosley. Assigned the call I arrived with Detective Menzies and proceeded to the rooftop. The decedent was found floating in the swimming pool. Retrieved the body. The decedent appears to have been drowned while taking a late-night swim. Rooftop pool. Witness statements. Cecilia reported that he went for his customary morning swim and found the decedent, who he thought he had seen before, floating nude in the pool. Consulting the apartment directory, he identified Patrick O'Connell as the decedent's probable employer. O'Connell confirmed the decedent's identity and confirmed that she worked for him in the capacity of a live-in domestic. What? What does that mean? Like a live-in maid? Like, what? Worked for him as a live-in... Is that even a thing? Like, I would feel mightily weird if a person lived with me who also works for me and we're like not family or something. I don't quite understand what this even means. The decedent's clothing was found in the adjacent shower. The pool is heated and enclosed. Neighboring buildings do not overlook the pool. Fingerprints, hair and fiber negative. Body examination. Bruising of the throat suggests that the decedent was forcibly drowned. The decedent exhibited a number of scratches, presumed to be inflicted by the assailant's fingernails during a struggle. The decedent was positively identified by the decedent's employer, Patrick O'Connell. Autopsy report. Witnesses. CPD detective Frederick Barkley was present at the autopsy. The cause of death is drowning by total immersion. Bruising of the throat, the result of the assailant's efforts to choke or control the decedent. Scratches to the decedent's arms, torso and face, likely inflicted by the assailant during the murder. Both occurred prior to death. No evidence of sexual assault. Toxicology tests revealed both an elevated alcohol level and the presence of rohypnol, which combined with the alcohol would have likely incapacitated the decedent. The mode of death is homicide. Okay, so it seems they are all getting like drugged before they get killed, which, by the way, is also how it worked in Post Mortem, where the victims were gassed before they were killed. Shannon Bream. Information sources. Patrolman Ryan, Marlene Katz, neighbor, Aaron Martinez, lab partner. Investigation. On Wednesday at 19:02 hours, Marlene Katz, the decedent's neighbor, placed a call to the office reporting the death of the decedent. Patrolman Ryan was dispatched to investigate. The decedent was found in her apartment, partially submerged in her bathtub. I was called in to examine the scene. Patrolman Ryan stated that he had taken the witness, Marlene Katz's disposition, indicated that she had noticed water dripping from the decedent's apartment, located directly above her own. When the decedent did not answer, she entered the apartment using a spare key entrusted to her by the decedent. The decedent was found partially submerged in her bathtub. Katz claimed to have shut off the faucet, which was still running, when she entered the bathroom. The decedent appeared to be dead, so Katz called 911. Katz identified the decedent as Shannon Bream, 22, a student at the University of Chicago. While investigating, the decedent's lab partner, Aaron Martinez, arrived, claiming that he and the decedent were scheduled to work on an assignment together. Both witnesses were of the opinion that the decedent was in good mental health and an unlikely suicide candidate. Scene description. The decedent's apartment showed no sign of forced entry, indicated that she might have known the killer. A desk lamp was found broken on the floor, and textbooks scattered around it were the only sign that was of struggle. Evidence. Fingerprints and hair and fiber were collected by forensics. Shoe prints found leaving the apartment, measured and photographed. A bruising of the throat area suggests that the decedent was forcibly drowned. She was identified positively by both Marlene Katz and Aaron Martinez. Next of kin notification. The decedent was unmarried and had no children. Legal next of kin is her father, Vincent Bream, who was notified by telephone. Tissue donated, none requested, autopsy notification. Special Agent Victoria McPherson, FBI Investigative Support Unit, would like to be notified following the autopsy. Okay, that's pretty interesting. So I guess that must be a descendant of the protagonist of the first game, who was a detective by the name of Gustav McPherson. And I guess I'm her, because it says here, Victoria McPherson on my badge. Autopsy report. Witnesses, Chicago Police Department patrolman Matt Ryan was present. The cause of death is drowning, bruising of the throat representative of the use of force by the perpetrator to control the decedent, and occurred prior to death. Toxicology tests revealed both an elevated blood alcohol level and the presence of rohypnol, which combined with the alcohol would have incapacitated the decedent. The mode of death is homicide. Okay, and the fourth victim, Natalie Kenworth. Information sources: Detective Miller, Eric Adler, and Robert Jackson. At 21:35 hours, Eric Adler placed a call to the office reporting the death of the decedent. Detective Miller was dispatched to investigate and called me in once the particulars of the scene had been established. The decedent was found on a walkway inside the sewer system, Waveland Avenue. Eric Adler was dispatched by the Chicago Power Company to investigate and repair a power outage in the Waveland Avenue area. Adler descended into the sewer system to locate the problem and found the victim. He called 911 and the ambulance crew dispatched subsequently called the police. The decedent was found with a pillowcase matching those found in the victim's bedroom, where one pillow had been stripped, firmly secured about her face. Adler claimed to have torn it open during his attempts to resuscitate the decedent. The apartment superintendent, Robert Jackson, lives in the basement of the building next to the victim's apartment. He was questioned and indicated that he heard no unusual noises, but admitted that he has been watching television and might have missed any but the loudest noises. Jackson claimed that the victim seemed happy and had no history of domestic disputes that he was aware of. The sewer walkway had no signs of a struggle. The body was dragged along the walkway near an electric power grid that was sabotaged. The victim was already dead and was dumped at the location. Due to a certain amount of blood at the location of the body, it is our belief that the victim was eviscerated at the location and not at her apartment. The decedent apartment showed no sign of forced entry, no evidence of violent struggle. Blood traces on the lip of the bathtub and the floor tiles partially wiped away, leaving bloody smears. The assault began here and death occurred here. The body was then brought to the sewer location. Evidence: fingerprints, blood samples, and hair and fiber works collected by forensics. The torn pillowcase was collected for further analysis. Body examination: bruising of the throat area, as well as crushed trachea, suggests that the decedent was strangled, possibly using the pillowcase as a ligature. Meredith Kenworth, her mother, positively identified the decedent. Next of kin: the decedent was unmarried and had no children. Legal next of kin is her mother, Meredith Kenworth. Special Agent Victoria McPherson would like to be informed 2 hours before the autopsy. Autopsy report. Witnesses: Special Agent Victoria McPherson was present at the autopsy. The cause of death is drowning. Bruising of the throat and damage to trachea occurred prior to death and were inflicted by the pillowcase used as a ligature. Evisceration performed post mortem and would unquestionably have proved fatal as well. Toxicology tests revealed both elevated alcohol level and the presence of rohypnol, which combined with the alcohol would have incapacitated the decedent. The mode of death is homicide. Okay, so it's very clearly a serial killer. He has, well, he or she, they have a very similar modus operandi. in each of those cases because they always drown the victim, or at least they strangle the victim and then leave the body either in or near a body of water. And all of the victims were drugged prior to death. So yeah. Chapter 1, Anatomy Lesson. Another day at the office. News about the appeal, Claire being a sweetheart, Browning being a prick, and of course stacks and stacks of files. Weren't computers supposed to create paperless offices? Notes, photos, reports, and more notes. Looking at their handwriting makes me think some of those guys should have become doctors instead. Can't say I'm thrilled with their method either, but what do I know? I'm the one who violated proper procedure in New Orleans. And speaking of New Orleans, I wonder how Claire feels about working a case with me again. She just came by again with a few more details about the Kenworth drowning. Not much really, barely worth a personal visit, but that's Claire for you. She's a mother, she can't help it, and she knows that working on this profile is the only interesting thing I do all day. I think I'm ready to call Kenworth the fourth one, even though this one's more violent than the last three. I'm hoping our killer isn't escalating. The fifth victim. Looks like my fears were right, he is escalating. I was supposed to be seeing Richard tonight after he was done at the gallery, but I just knew when the phone rang that it wasn't going to happen. He'll probably give me a hard time about it too, but it's his own fault for being so secretive about this brand new exhibit of his. I'm going to have to make time and go see it when it opens, which ought to be fun while I'm investigating a fresh body. Beats beating stuck behind the desk though. Okay, so there is another body presumably inside.
Looks like someone's in dire need of coffee.
Hell yeah!
Here you are.
Thanks. This gonna hit the spot. You know, you're not like those other suits, Miss McPherson. You okay in my book.
So, are you the human popsicle yet?
Can you believe this fucking weather? I mean, shit! It was 60 yesterday. And can you believe all this goddamn snow, too? Look at this shit! You know how hard it was getting here?
What do we have, the usual?
Yeah, the same old shit. Anonymous phone call, no witnesses, and another dead girl. This one more banged up than the others. When I got here, I figured it was your perp's work, so I didn't bother reporting it to everyone. I just called Miller.
Besides you, who got here first?
Miller did about 10 minutes ago. Claire followed a few minutes later.
How do I know?
Where's the crime scene?
The crime scene is through the entrance, up the stairs and to your right. Miller be the chicken shit leaning up against the fridge. Miss McPherson, be careful in there. I need a tetanus shot just looking at this place.
I don't understand. How do I know what is she going to say when I click either left or right mouse button?
Miller got here first, huh? Did he do it again?
Yeah, he did. Oh, Claire is pissed as hell, too. She threw him out into the hallway.
Well, okay. I guess I'll head up and see how Miller's doing.
Okay, Agent McPherson. You watch yourself in there.
Where's the crime scene again?
Where's the crime scene? It's on the second floor. Miller's waiting for you in the hall.
Okay, at the very least I can skip dialogue in this one, which it was a little bit infuriating how I couldn't in Post Mortem.
Wow, you remind me of when I was at the academy. One day I decided to run the obstacle course after lunch. I lost everything, even my breakfast. It was a gruesome mash of pizza and French toast.
If you're trying to help me, it's not working.
Here you are. It might make things pass more smoothly. Then again, maybe not. Miller, you're going to have to stop trying. You and dead bodies don't mix. I suggest you wait for us next time. We can't risk any more donut-contaminated crime scenes.
Yes, I will, Agent McPherson.
So what can you tell me?
It's our guy's work, all right. The victim's in an old bathtub. She's stuck in ice. I couldn't see much. Thank God.
Oh, by the way, stop with the Agent McPherson, please. Just plain Victoria's fine, all right?
Will do, Victoria.
Just out of morbid curiosity, where did the Martians land this time?
I hurled in the toilet. Can we change this subject?
Jeez, that would bring you to 2-0. Claire must be very happy right now.
Actually, no, she isn't. I think she wants to kill me. She threatened to tie me to your 4x4 and drag me through the streets.
So where's Claire?
Old Indian saying, follow stench. Find little pale-faced fat woman.
Christ, Miller, I'm really not in the mood.
Sorry. She's in the bathroom. Follow the hallway to the end and it's the door to your left. She's working near the body. I think she needs you to take a look at the rest of the apartment. Here, take the camera. Claire doesn't want me around, so you're gonna have to take pictures too.
Okay.
Wonderful. Take it easy. See you in a bit.
Is she really going to continue walking around with those coffees?
Better leave him be.
And how do I use that? Takes high quality pictures. Okay, I guess this is just looking at it. And this would be using it. Right? Or did I just punch it? It's a bit inconclusive. I don't think I can even get further upstairs. Oh, actually I can. Well, maybe not upstairs, but definitely to the other side of the hallway.
Lucy, you have some splaining to do. Blood probably belongs to the victim. Weird, a clean spot in such a messy place. Weird, a clean spot in such a messy place.
Now, how do I photograph stuff? Will she just use it on her own?
Forensic lamp. This enables us to have a better look around. With the right filter, of course.
Okay, something was dragged here, judging by the smear of blood. Also, there's a pentagram on the wall, which might indicate some kind of an occult element. Oh yeah, there's another pentagram on the floor, which definitely seems occult to me, and there's a 666 in a bracket.
Forensic lamp. This enables us to have a better look around. With the right filter, of course.
It's interesting to me that she has nothing to say about those pentagrams and the like, and like the skull.
Weird, a clean spot in such a messy place.
Oh,
Nice Christmas decorations.
that's pretty creepy. Okay, that's one of the people from FBI. Wait, how does it all link to... I guess those are two doors that go to the same space. They're just separated by this, which is like a kitchen annex, I guess?
It's Claire's briefcase. She carries her stuff around in that.
Okay, I'll talk with them next time, because this episode has been long enough, so I'm going to save. Did it save? It did. And end it for now. That's all for this one, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.